The following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage and let's get this fucking show started.
Forum, assemble. You're watching Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books, and your live weekly conversation about entertainment and geek culture. We are the Fantastic Forum, coming to you live and direct from all. Like I'm sitting here throwing back. Coming to you live and direct from the Hall of F. Hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, as the case may be, depending on where you are in the world. And if you're not, you should stick with us while we take it up a notch. You have the usual suspects in the building. First, he is our riddle inside of an enigma trapped in Chinese finger cuffs. You don't know him. You love him anyway. He's our silent assassin, Jay.
Hey.
Hey. Next, he is our intrepid senior reporter. He's next in line for the cowl. He's our resident Dark Knight detective. It's Oz.
Hey.
Hey. Next, he's the backbone, the pillar, the strength of Fantastic Forum, our nigh invulnerable brawler, and resident strongman, Moses Magnum.
What's up?
Hey. And as for myself, my name is Lawrence Young. They call me Mayor Young. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. We got a great show for you today. We are going to be talking to you all about Spider-Man. The end of the Spider-Verse arc. So we'll be talking about that. We're going to be talking to you all about the new Nick Cage movie, Renfield, and we're going to be talking to you all about the season finale of The Mandalorian. So we got all that going on, and of course, whatever else it is that you all want to talk about, and we'll tell you how it is. You can let us know what that is in just a few moments. But before we do all that, we want to make sure that we thank Mr. Scott Rubin, because without him, this show would not have happened. So thank you, Scott Rubin. And we want to go ahead and, I guess this is the moment where we should tell you, where we can have our lovely intern tell you how you get down Fantastic Forum.
Want to get in on the action? Call Fantastic Forum on Skype and join the fun. Too shy to call in? That's okay. You can join the Discord chat room available at
FantasticForum.live.
Join the party. You know you want to.
Thank you, intern. Appreciate all your hard work. Go ahead and hit us up. You can go to FantasticForum.live and join the show there, or you can go ahead and jump into chat on either YouTube or on Twitch, and we will take your comments directly out of chat and bring them into the show. So, just let us know. Fellas, everybody doing all right? Y'all feeling good?
Feeling okay.
Yeah. Well, listen, we got a lot to get to, and I know we started late, so I guess we'll just get into it. I love the banter, I do, but I know how much.
You still you didn't get to talk about Mario Brothers.
Oh, that is true.
If you wanted to banter like that, we can have banter there.
That's true. What I will say is this. I like you. Unfortunately I didn't get to watch last week's show yet, so I don't know what you all thought of Dungeons and Dragons and of the Super Mario Brother movie,
or our review of those.
Or your review of what?
Of those.
Of those?
Yeah, of our review of the movies. Like, usually, when you don't get to be part of the conversation, you review our reviews, right? Like that's
got you. Right. No, I don't. Listen, I didn't know what you're talking about. You said of those. I was like, of those what? Those movies I just mentioned? I just mentioned those movies.
Like,
yeah, but I didn't. I didn't know you were talking about the reviews of the movies specifically. Anyway, I I will say, man, like uh Dungeons and Dragons was like a much better movie than I anticipated it being, and I thought it was going to be good already. Like it seemed like it was going to be a fun time, but I was like, really enjoyed it. Uh, and man, the Super Mario Brothers movie, I enjoyed. Like I had a smile on my face the whole time, man. Like I really did. There was one moment where it probably had a smaller smile because of after they come out the opening with the commercial and they go into the voices, and I was like, oh, we could have used those other voices. but other than that, I was like, no, this is cool. Like it took me a moment to just be like, oh, we're not doing that, and they're like, they didn't like take a jab at it or anything. They just kind of acknowledge like, oh, was that too over the top, or like, okay, like how they do, like when it's that same thing when they show you the Volkswagen in Transformers, and you're like, why, make it seem like nobody would want to do that, or when they show you Wolverine's real costume, and they're like, in X-Men back in the day, and they're like, oh, or not show you the costume, but mention, yellow spandex or whatever, like, oh, nobody wants to see that.
They do actually show the costume at one point.
Yeah,
they do too. Yeah, but I just more so talk about like
it was too little, too late.
Yeah, but they don't whatchamacallit, like whenever they make those references, me, I'm usually the one that's like, actually, that's exactly what I wanted. Like if we could do that. No, but it was good, man. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I understand why it made all the money. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to actually watching the show and seeing what you all thought of it.
No, you're not.
I am. It's like, listen, I ain't got a lot of y'all. Y'all are my friends. I tell y'all terrible, like horrible, hard truths. I'd be like, hey man, y'all might need to just quit this podcasting thing. It's like, enough already. Enough.
You sound like my mom.
He's like, I'm going solo, boys. I'm going solo. Yeah, so but actually, I'm definitely like looking forward to
it. A doctor? I'm like, because I'm a moron, Mom.
Why can't you be a doctor? There it is. If only you had the same passion for organs as you did for comics.
Or big pharma.
Depends on the organ.
Yeah, like I got passion for my organs.
It's pretty funny. Yeah. Look, me being me, I was like which organ is he talking? Like the pancreas or like the? I was like, what's he? Which one is he?
Like, clearly, you weren't thinking the brain.
Like which organ exactly? Like the gallbladder? It's definitely the gallbladder. No. Anyway,
he loves his epiglottis.
See, there it is. Like you might be a doctor yet, Mo.
I'm a butcher.
Okay. All right. So anyway, let's get into some of these reviews, man. Let's start with Spider-Man. Yeah, and let's do some review music.
Comic book
review.
Comic book
like review. Well, not like that, but like.
All right. So Spider-Man, adjectiveless Spider-Man. Dan Slott, Mark Bagley, back together again, doing their thing, and this initial arc is end of the Spider-Verse. So, who wants to start? Who wants to give us a good summary of what this story arc is about?
I can do it.
Make it happen, Mo. Do the magic.
This story is it's pretty much it's Dan Slott returning to Spider-Man without a contract and like doing a story, I guess, built up from was it Spider-Geddon and all that stuff, and he's doing this thing. He's got one last final Spider-Verse story in him, and he's having a good time with it. And Mark Bagley draws it, or as Larry likes to say, Bagley. I don't like saying
Bagley. That's
yeah.
his mama named him Bagley. I'm gonna call him Bagley. No, I'm joking.
I thought it was Bagley, but I don't know. But
No, I don't know.
It's weird because even like I used to, there was a street where I used to live in Culver City, and I called it Bagley all the time. Like that's just, but everybody calls it Bagley, and I'm like, fuck, how the fuck does that mean Bagley to you? But I guess I'm the wrong, I'm the crazy one. But yeah, this story basically reunites all the spider people. Some have been turned bad because of the spider wasps, Shathra. Influence and hive mind. She wants to take over the Loom world, and you have a corrupted version of the Ghost Spider and Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Ham, like everybody you liked in the last few Spider-Geddons and Spider-Verses things, like they're bad people now, and then you get a bunch of other ones, and the story plays out the way not the way you would think it would, but it basically ends up spotlighting Silk a lot, and it actually takes a pretty cool turn in that. But yeah, we'll see where it goes from here. We're doing issue 1 through 7, right? Everybody read that?
I did.
I did.
Yeah, me too. So,
and of course, Oz did. Oz read them twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. and that's the weird thing about this story too, yeah, because it's like, yeah, I mean, we'll get to it. I'm not gonna sully the preamble with my opinion just yet, but definitely it kind of leaves something to be desired.
Okay. So, Jay, how about you give us some initial impressions, man? What'd you think of this story?
It reminded me of like reading Anne McCaffrey, where the first third just fucking drags. Just really, really drags, and then it just picks up and gets inexplicably good. And so that's what I went through. Just had to force myself through those first 3 issues, and I was rewarded for my patience.
So you felt it started really slow, but once things got started, it just took off.
I can't say slow, just uninterestingly. Like, there's a lot happening. It just wasn't very interesting to me.
The first 2 issues could have been boiled down to 1 issue, probably.
Are you sure it's just the first 3? Wasn't issue like 5 like technically like a side story?
Yes.
So there was a side story in 5,
yeah.
But I feel like once I got to 4, like I started becoming invested in what was happening.
Okay.
And even that side story kind of like fits the overall theme towards the end.
Say again?
Like that side story kind of like pays off at the end. So that should have been issue 1.
Nah, it can't be issue 1 because of how they decided to tell the story.
I mean, it could have been 2.
Yeah, actually, issue 2 would have made more sense.
Yeah, it could have been like issue 2 literally starts in an Earth that you don't know what it is with people you don't know who they are. So it's like it could have been issue 2. Like the whole thing, these 7 issues could have been boiled down to 4.
I can see that. Oz, so you sounded like you're a little less enthused on the whole thing. How What would your thoughts on the story?
You guys got me excited because I heard End of the Spider-Verse. I was like, oh, finally. And I figured they would go out with a bang, and no, not at all. In fact, it like did all the stuff that I didn't like about Spider-Verse.
Like what?
Like the safe zone or their safe space, or whatever they call it. Like that whole concept was stupid. I get trying to be meta, but at this point, it feels like everybody's doing it. It's just this whole. Maybe I'm just tired of multiverses. You know, it's too much. And then that side story could have been a lot shorter. I did not expect that to be a whole fucking book. Like I thought that was going to be like the first book. You kind of get a similar thing, and it's like what 4 pages maybe at the most. I thought that's all it was going to be, and no, it just kept going and going. Like I already knew from the book before. I already had an idea what happened.
Right.
You know, I already did all that math. And sorry, I'm still recovering from the plague. I already figured out. Okay, so when this happened, then it actually happened like this. And then I get a whole book telling me that that's what happened. I'm like, I already know this is what happened. I don't need a whole book of this. Give me 3 or 4 pages and let's get back to the story that you're trying to tell me. And then, you know, I'm picking up a Spider-Man book and it's actually a Silk book. Yeah.
So you also felt Silk was too centered?
I feel like it should have been more Peter Parker centered, and that's how it felt.
Who also felt it was too centered on Silk?
Oh, I thought you did.
No, I mean it is, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
Okay. Oh, got you. So you do feel like it was centered on Silk, but you're not complaining about it. Got it. Yeah. Okay. And so, but it's interesting because, you know, obviously there is a point in the book, or in the not the book, but in the arc, where Silk definitely becomes more of the center. But like that happens for story reasons, right? So it's like, I don't know, like for me it didn't seem out of place or you know, or even honestly, like there wasn't enough like Spider-Man in it, like Peter Parker or Spider-Man, because you know you get a fair amount. I mean, even like the issue that we were talking about is like Peter Parker centered, basically, right? The issue that everybody, well, not everybody, but that you all were mentioning, maybe didn't have to be as long as it did, is basically an entire issue about Peter Parker and his life, like outside of the Spider-Man costume. So, you know, like while I definitely understand where you're coming from, because it's not a role that we usually see her in, like kind of playing point in that way. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't rub me the wrong way.
How long has Miles Morales had that atrocious costume?
It's been a minute.
But he didn't have it in Dark Web.
No, actually, didn't he?
No, he just had his regular outfit.
Oh.
So it feels like longer than it is. I remember seeing the press release for it, and I thought it was bad. And it looked. This is the first book I actually read with that costume in it.
Yeah,
I don't like it. Like,
I feel like he's been wearing that in his book for a little bit. So I could be wrong about that, but I've seen it before. But this is actually the first book where I've actually read, or the first book I've read with him in that costume as well. And yeah, I agree. It's the worst. Like, I don't even understand how somebody could, like, I get like somebody trying to make him have his own kind of style, but it's a bad look. Like, that's not the way to go. It's not the route to go. And this,
the movie did that already.
Yeah,
know,
the
like
movie costume was pretty good,
yeah,
even with the hoodie.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but the
Mandalorian
movie
hates
costume. No, I mean, I'm just saying the movie costume is kind of makeshift, right? Like it's not like,
No,
or
it's
at
a
least the
legit spider suit that he just spray painted it because that's how he expresses art. Like he
right.
got that from what do they call her? She wasn't the caretaker. She was an Aunt May, but she was like a suit. Whatever. It was a legit suit.
Right. Right.
I was probably
But
mixing her up with that Spider Man that was taking care of the babies.
right. But I don't know, man. It's like if there's any if there's any indication that there's too many spider people, like the costuming options kind of show it, right? Where it's just like, okay, like people don't know
Yeah.
what to do with the rest of these 616 people. Like even like Aranya's costume now. I was like, what is Aranya? Like, and don't get me wrong, it's much better than Miles Morales' costume, but it's still like a lot going on where I'm just like, why is she
It's good until
looks
Mark
like
Bailey draws it.
That's rough. Look, since you brought it up, tell people how you felt about the art, Mo.
I know, like I told you earlier, that it's utter shit, and then it's clearly not. But I expect better from Bagley, man. This is Oranga's costume right here, and then like that face looks weird right here. I don't know if it's the colorist that fucked it up, or I don't know. There's a lot of inconsistencies with the art here, and it just keeps happening. Like, you know, it's like, okay, like he drew Spider-Man cool here, but then in that same panel, this looks like that. So it could be like same like here, like I don't like her face there, but then this looks like dynamic and cool, and then this looks cool right here.
Mm-hmm.
So oh man, I don't. Maybe he was wrong. He did have to draw a bunch of spider people. Like he's on some George Perez levels.
Right.
Forgive the blurriness, but he did have to draw a bunch of them. So I get maybe like Burnout or something, but like this looks hideous, and
That
I'm like,
spider face
that's not
behind
like
me was bugging me the whole
I
time.
don't want, like, when people talk about Mark Bagley's art, like, especially like I have a dude that keeps trying to get some of his stuff graded because he thinks he's gonna make money off of it, and I'm like, you know what,
Mm-hmm.
like, he goes, oh, Mark Bagley's my favorite Spider-Man artist, and I'm like, hold on, I'm like, fuck you, because really, like, this is like Mark Bagley's working art. Like, this is what he's putting out now. Like, you can't say he's your favorite and you're just reading ass fucking comics. You know what I mean? Like,
You're just reading what?
and you're just reading old ass comics from the 90s.
Oh.
So it's like, you need to know what he's been drawing now. And, like even here, like he drew a bunch of people, but like this Silk sucks. That Craven sucks. That Julia Carpenter sucks. That like no name Spider Woman here is actually pretty good. This one's like some weird anime one that somehow is pretty good, but we don't know who the fuck she is, And then this Miles Morales, like that's just his costume. It just looks terrible. Like, why does he have two masks? Like,
I don't know.
So overall, like the art, I wasn't like, and then this Spider Boy, like, oh yeah, that's the big thing, everybody. Like, I don't like this costume. I don't like this pose. I don't know what the fuck he is. There's really, like, he's going the way of Alpha.
Is that a new character?
It's a new character.
Yeah.
Like, he hyped it up.
He was here all along.
They
We
brought
just
him out.
forgot.
They brought him out like he be like, we're gonna bring back all the people that were lost in this thing, and then he hits him. I was like, What the hell is this?
He's like Sentry.
It's
Right.
like the
I was
the
just about to say
hour.
that.
It's like the 0 hour of Marvel Spider-Verse. Like you get this whole new post-crisis shit.
Now he's a 616er.
Yeah.
Huh? Like supposedly he was always a 616er.
And then he's like, "You don't know me," and then he goes, "Boom, boom, boom," just jumps from place to place and leave.
Boom, boom, boom.
And I'm like, I mean, you know, I try to buy the issue because I've been buying these issues and I've been reading it, and it's like I haven't been enjoying it as much as I would like, and part of it is the art. I feel the art actually degrades the story. Like if it would have been like Humberto Ramos art, it would have got like it literally drops everything from like a 5 to a 2. Yeah, for me. But you know they hyped up this new character like, oh, be sure to buy this. It's going to be the first appearance. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do with him. Maybe he's going to show up in the next movie or something. But
Oh my god.
but that because even like one of these spider people like looks like the one from the movie, so I'm like maybe that's her. But I guess it's the Jessica Drew in Into the Spider-Verse is the black one, and she's pregnant. So I guess, but I thought it was this Spider UK. Like they look the same.
All the black people look alike, huh, Mo?
All the black Spider people look alike to me, whether they're
It's
male.
like, listen, it's like, look, she clearly sounds completely different, Mo.
I don't know what she sounds like. I only watched that trailer on mute.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the art, Jay?
For the most part, it was fine.
So you really loved it?
You know, and this is going to sound really lame and pathetic, but with all the hot spider chicks there, I was hoping we would get more sexy poses from them. And
in the true Bagley tradition. In the true Bagley tradition.
Bagley.
Yeah.
Bagely.
I mean, look at, and I know when you said not to look at his 90s stuff, but
no, you can look at it.
Like she was always in a hot position.
Yeah.
Who was?
Like, when she was just standing. Who? Silhouette.
Oh, from New Warriors.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I thought it was Sun Spider, but it turns out that's a different girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I thought it might be a silhouette, like a silhouette spider person as well. Only because her face is covered up. So I was just like,
well, for me, it was the crutches.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, yeah.
But no, apparently that's somebody's spider sona.
Spider what? What's that mean?
Someone's
People
fan
create-
character.
Yeah, people create fan characters for Spider-Man. They're called Spider Sonas. It's a big trend on Instagram.
And Marvel reached out and Marvel actually told people to do it, and then they reached out and grabbed some of the ones they liked.
Spider sonas. That's a trend on.
Yeah,
Instagram?
you can just search the hashtag and just watch all them all day. Like they do it. They'll be artists that create their own version, and then there's cosplayers that create their own version.
Well, and sonas in general are a thing.
Yeah.
So.
Oh. First time hearing about it.
No, like I told you about it
In
before.
the art community and the fan character community, that's just the norm. I know you don't really look at much independent art, so you're not familiar with stuff like that. But if you would broaden your horizons, you would see all the sonas out there.
If you're not working for a major corporation, I don't need to see your art. That's just how I feel about it. I'm gonna stick with that. If you were good, you'd be working for Marvel. No, I'm joking. I obviously look at a fair amount of independent art, but I didn't remember the Sonas thing. So
I wonder.
I guess that's a rabbit hole to fall down tomorrow.
I wonder if the
speaking
Spider
of-
Boy is Jessica Drew's kid.
Wait,
What?
what? Say that again?
I wonder if the Spider Boy is Jessica Drew's kid.
Oh, could be.
Like he got aged up.
Yeah, that would actually be a bad idea, but that feels
what happened.
very likely. Yeah, exactly. like that feels like a bad idea, but that's probably who it is. Because
They made a point to mention her kid when she was doing her thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably.
Yeah.
I miss Nick Spencer.
Oh wow. Oz, did you have issue or did you take any issue with the art? How'd you feel about it?
It felt like I was back in the 90s.
Okay.
No, but he was good in the 90s.
I guess especially the Peter Parker issue. Like he drew Peter Parker that classic, actually classic like what 70s,
60s
with the two little things in his hair.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Nah, it was fine. It wasn't. It bugged me when they were in their safe space. That art bugged me because it's just like they're really hammering home what they're doing at that point, and it's like I get it. I get it. Okay, Peter Palmer, gotcha. All right.
Wait, now let me just ask. You hated that what?
I hated that space.
Now, forgive me because you all know how my memory is. Weren't they only in the safe space like twice?
They were in there for almost a full issue.
I mean,
okay,
like 3 issues for sure.
Like they were in there for 3 issues.
Yeah, they showed the world. Was it at the end of issue 1 or maybe issue 2? And then they didn't show you what the world was till like issue 3. Like didn't say like, oh, is this 616 beta? Like all the forgotten ideas, you know?
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I like that idea, but it wasn't executed well. Like it didn't have anything like. It could have just been a world that was cut off from the loom because they cut the one spider totem from that place, you know? Like it would have been easier, made more sense. You know?
Yeah, it could. Yeah, no, it could have been. Especially now that we know what unraveling does. Like, yeah, it could have just been that.
A world
There's no more
without
spider
Spider-Man.
person in this area, so you can't see, and that would have made a lot more sense. And we're hiding in this church that has no name because they haven't used it in a story at this point.
Right.
And
it's interesting because, and I think this goes back to what you were saying, Mo, in regards to the execution, where it's like, you had the 616 beta universe, and everything was like kind of newsprinty, to give it like that old timey kind of feel. And it's like, it's interesting because that's a concept that we saw used relatively recently in crossover, and the way that that's done in that book is definitely a superior version of that idea. And it's not strictly an art thing; it's just more so the way that it kind of comes across and how it juxtaposes with.
They interact with the world, right? Like they go to
so they did it in Patrol too.
Yeah.
Remember, Mr. Negative was hiding in the space between comic panels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, it's so
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I don't fault Dan Slott for doing it this way, but it's just
No,
not.
because you came up with an idea that made sense and would have made the story a little bit better. And
Yeah.
you're not a Dan Slott. So if
Yeah.
you can come up, it's like I always say, if I can come up with a better way to execute
Yeah.
this thing that you try to do, then you fucked up because you're the professional. I can't write
But
shit.
he's also like tied down because they did Spider-Geddon without him, and that ruined a lot of shit because he's doing this based on what they did there, and they did funky shit with these inheritors and this spider. So in Dan Slott trend, like he tries to fix stuff that they did subparly. Yeah, I don't know if I can
Yeah.
say subparly, um but this one's just a hard fix, and it's just not like, I mean, even with like Spider-Geddon, I was like, I don't need another Spider-Verse. Like, we got the Spider-Verse event that was great, and then we had the movie that kind of tapped into that without doing it as great, but it's great in its own right. Like, we don't need anything else,
Mm-hmm.
really. Like, we don't.
Now the next movie is going right back to it.
Yeah, and that one's doing the weird Council of Spiders. So that's like, I mean, I liked it in that one Jonathan Hickman short, but that's about it. Like, even that was phoned in from him because he had already done it in Fantastic Four.
So, would you all say that? Well, I guess actually the question I have, Mo, and maybe you can answer this, is um the big bad in this arc, is it Shastra? How do you say it?
Shathra.
Shatra. Is that a character that existed before this storyline?
She might have, but I either it's either a Spencerism or a Straczynskiism. It's not something that I
Mm.
read, but
She does mention that Peter Parker is the only one that's defeated her at one point.
yeah, I
So that
think
made me think she's in another story somewhere.
I think she was like in like, what is it, like, because it was Amazing Spider-Man 29 where Straczynski took over, so it's like in those like 35, 36 where she kind of comes out. Because I remember the Wasp thing. She might have come out before the Inheritors
Mm-hmm.
in
Okay.
that run too. Like, maybe like 36 or something.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's just like I feel like that character is a big part of maybe like how, like, if we had a different person at the center of all of this, the story might have felt different. Because I know, like, for whatever reason, like that character didn't really resonate with me in the same way as like it definitely didn't reach the level that like the Inheritors did. Um, but
She's
it's just
Agamotto's her half brother, and she's related
oh,
to Khonshu.
okay, yeah. Like, I'm not getting any of those vibes at all. Like, I know that there's a point where she says she's a god in the story, maybe once or twice, but I definitely wasn't
all
getting
villains feel that way at one point.
right. But I sure wasn't getting that vibe from her. It was just kind of like, you know, I don't know. The it the character feels almost like it's a placeholder character, and it's like, okay, like the real design for the villain will be coming soon. you know, because it's just like, yeah, just, and I guess if it's a character that was created beforehand, it's hard to be like, oh, the character feels uninspired because the character is what the character is. But at the same time, as a writer, you can bring or breathe new life into characters, right? Like look what they did with, like, say, Mr. Sinister. You know,
Yeah.
Mr. Sinister for a while was like kind of just your, like, you know, as generic a villain as a villain could be, and then somebody got a hold of Sinister and made him interesting, and now he's like sassy. So, you know, yeah. So it's that kind of thing. But yeah, yeah. um. Also, too, I saw that, you know, like, Dan Slott did bring Kane back in this
Yeah.
story, which I don't know where Kane went. I'm sure Kane's been dead and come back a couple times since the last time I saw him. But it's one of those things where I kind of feel like, based on, like, the chatter I saw on the net and in regards to the stories and all that kind of stuff, like, people seem to be, like, digging that, like which is funny to me, because you would think that, you know, especially in light of what has happened recently with, like, Ben Reilly, that people might be wary of Kane coming back. But I don't know. I guess people are like, yay. Like, some people's favorite Spider-Man is Kane, right? So, which is
Yeah.
wild, but okay.
I mean, he's the reason I stopped watching The Flash. Because
Wait, what?
Savitar was just Kane. Like, it's like Kane came back from the future to kill Mary Jane so that she wouldn't have Spider-Man's kid. And that's what Savitar came to do to Iris West.
Mm.
And it was a clone of Barry Allen. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? I read Web of Death. I don't need to watch this no more. And I haven't watched The Flash since.
There it is. Kane,
Yeah,
Kane
missing
saving
much.
lives. What you say? You're not missing much?
Nah,
So
it's more run.
yeah.
Half of the last season isn't even about the Flash. It's like about all the other characters around him.
But that's a whatchamacallit. That guyism. The guy
Berlanti?
Yeah, that's how it ends up.
I feel
Everybody.
like it was a lot more about the Flash originally.
It was, but all his shows turn about the people around the hero.
Well,
eventually.
keeping in mind, if you mess around and you're doing a show and it's like you're 10 seasons in, if you do 7 seasons about the same person or 8 seasons about the same person, at some point you might be like, I don't know if I got as many ideas.
He stops it at 3.
Huh?
He stops it at 3.
That's when he's working on the next one.
Yeah.
He just puts that on
Because
autopilot.
the 3 are of the hero, and then on the 4th and 5th, they start focusing on other people. Everybody else starts getting powers and shit. And they all sit around in an office. That's why I'm happy, like, Titans is ending at, like, what, season 4? And Doom Patrol ended at with 3. So
I still haven't even seen season 3 of Titans. I don't like that Tim Drake.
You're fucking up.
So anything else for Spider-Verse?
Larry, did you think the art was shit?
I didn't think it was terrible, but it's definitely not his best work. But I don't know. Like, I honestly kind of felt like his style may have just aged with time, you know? And, I have to go back and look at like his Ultimate books. But,
yeah,
it's like one of those things where in my mind, it's like they made a whole video game based on his art style, and I'm just like, I'm looking at this book and I'm like, it doesn't feel to me like necessarily that this book is drawn in a significantly worse way. But like I said, I'm gonna go back and take a look and put it side by side so I can kind of just be like, okay, yeah, like I can see how one is better and one is worse. But yeah, like the art definitely isn't a high point of the book. And unfortunately, I honestly I wasn't like super sold on the story either. Like conceptually, I liked it. I liked all the ideas. It's just the way, like I said, like the execution of it. It's just like there was points where even the dialogue felt a little forced, which I'm not used to from Dan Slott, especially when they talk about Spider-Man. And um, there are just other points where like I don't feel like the story really dragged. I just felt like it was kind of anticlimactic, where what we ended up like between the villain not seeming especially um especially like fearsome, because it's like, I mean, the villain only she only comes out to do her thing like towards the later part of the arc anyway, right? Like other than that, she's using her agents, which are basically all spider people as well. So it's just kind of like, okay, well, like the spider people are the real threat. It feels like, and it's not even like them themselves. It's just more kind of like, okay, you gotta watch out for getting bit by a wasp, and you gotta watch out for this dagger, and that's about it.
Even the way they were, like, they weren't even like corrupt version of themselves. Like, it didn't even make like I can
Mm-hmm.
understand being the hive mind part, but they
Mm-hmm.
weren't drones. So it's like if she
Mm-hmm.
infects you and you become a drone, like you shouldn't have your personality. Like, and then they still did. Like it was like they were weirdly corrupt version of themselves that just didn't feel right. Like it just wasn't done
Yeah,
right. You know?
yeah. And then by the time you get to the end, it's like they kind of do a little bit of like the video game villain final boss kind of thing, and then after that we just get like well, not all these, but you get people back, like spider people back, which I mean, I guess it's like if I was reading Spider-Man more religiously, maybe that would have been a bigger impact for me. And then of course the whole, like you said, the Spider Boy thing, it was just kind of like, so and it just, that's really that, like, I don't ever want to say that at the end of an event, or at the end of a particular arc, where I'm just like, oh, so like I want to come out of that joint feeling like, man, like I can't believe we made it through that. Like that's what I want to feel like when I finish reading a good comic adventure. And yeah, unfortunately, this didn't do that for me. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
What was
All right.
worse, this or Dark Web for you?
I mean, Dark Web is a worse comic, but I'm probably more let down by this, because like Dark Web, like there was like there was no expectations from Dark Web, especially like considering like even reading the premise, I was like, oh, that's a terrible idea. Like like if it sounds like a bad idea, and I go in and it turns out that it's a garbage fire, then it's just like, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense.
Jay's like,
But
fuck.
he'll be back. But you know, Dan Slott coming back to Spider-Man books, that by itself is worth talking about, in my opinion. And it's like it for a little bit, it kind of did what I was hoping it would do. But then as it develops, it's just like, you know, okay, this is, it's mediocre is the word for it. Like, it's mediocre, and that's like, it's hard to accept that, or it's hard even just to say, because it's like it's Dan Slott and Mark Bagley, like, like those guys writing Spider-Man shouldn't be mediocre. Those guys writing Spider-Man should be a good Spider-Man book, and it's all right. It's all right. And so I guess, like, from a story perspective and all that kind of stuff, it's like I would definitely say Dark Web is worse. But from but I was more let down, I guess, probably by the Spider-Man art. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you all have anything else y'all want to say before we rate it?
Nah.
Could use more Aranya.
More cowbell, Jay? More cowbell? Is Aranya your favorite spider person, Jay?
She's up there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. Look, Oz, do you have a favorite spider person?
Superior.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Damn. We didn't even really get Superior in this thing.
Yeah, he's
Like
dead.
I saw Wait, what'd you say, Oz?
He's like dead or whatever.
Like he's Peter now.
Yeah. He's not
And
a
what
Spider-Verse tale. He was a main 616 universe
Like, he
Spider-Man.
technically was the chosen one for a while.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
What about you, Jay? What did you just say?
I said he got a mention.
Yeah, he did get a mention. Yeah. And Mo, you're whatchamacallit, more of a original
OG
guy,
Peter.
right?
Yeah.
OG
And then
Peter Parker.
seeing Peter like not get bit by the spider and still be like great, good for me.
Mhm.
Like I didn't mind that issue.
Yeah.
I like because that's ultimately like his core. Like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's just with or without. Like the movie Spider-Man had to be like, well, if you can't have, if you need the suit, then you don't deserve it. And then he had for the whole trilogy until he lost it. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
it's like he doesn't know the sense of power, and responsibility like that, and Peter does, and part of it is the chip on his shoulder, and that's kind of what I like about it too. But second is Silk. I love Silk.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Yeah, no,
I don't
Silk is cool.
and Gwen, Spider Gwen too, like Ghost Spider, like that. I really like that about this story where like it was just turned bad to begin with, like, and I guess they needed her out of the way to do the Silk story, but because otherwise it'd be her story, yeah, if she wasn't
Mhm.
corrupted by the Spider Wasp. But yeah, and she's good in the movie, even though it's not the real one. But they make you
Mhm.
feel like it's the real one. Like even the way she travels between universes, like she's used to it, but it ain't her. She's got ballet shoes.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
I also like how
Yeah.
they almost made Peter the bad guy.
In this story?
Yeah, like he does the classic villain spiel about making them all pay.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, shoot. Let's rate it. Let's start with you, Oz. What would you rate?
I'm probably just gonna go with a 3. It's not something I would just read. I don't regret reading it, but
Mhm.
I'm not gonna tell people, I'll pick this up.
Yeah. Okay. So 3 for you. Jay,
Yeah.
how about you, buddy?
I'll give it a 3 just because of the slow start.
Mm-hmm.
Everything after that I thought was really good and interesting. I like the villain.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like you and I are definitely kind of having like the opposite. Like we're at the same place, but I think we're actually having like the opposite kind of thing because I personally enjoyed the beginning of it more than the end. And no, I definitely didn't. I wasn't big on the villain at all, so no. And and Aranya's my least favorite spider person. Everyone knows that. No, I'm joking. Yeah. No, it's funny. Moses Magnum, what would you rate End of the Spider-Verse?
It's a 3. I definitely had too many expectations going in, and I feel let down. Even like with the whole new character, like, uh,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't buy a comic because they had to promote it that way because nobody's buying to begin with. Yeah, so it's ridiculous. Like I'm over here been buying these books that I'm not even enjoying, but I like to support the dude,
Yeah.
And I love
Right.
Spider Man, and I'm thinking I'm here getting a series I'm gonna enjoy, and then it turns out Unforgiven is it, but it's only Spider Man for one issue because I thought it was a Spider Man event, but they did that same Murder World bullshit. So it's like
Yeah.
X Men Unforgiven is the next one. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
still not a real like even the Weird Hulk series. Like I think feels better for me than a Spider Man series right now. I'm not enjoying a Spider Man right now like I
Oh
have,
wow.
and it's you know I have money and I'm willing to spend it, but I'm not the demographic clearly.
Well, listen, I don't know if that's true. If you're not the demographic, I don't know who is.
Well, look, that's like we talked before with the way they're marketing these books. Like it
Yeah.
clearly because I don't need all this like new character shit. Like I know it's just gonna go like Alpha or Silk. Like ain't
Yeah.
nobody rushing to buy a Silk book. Like it's a good
It's
character when you
true.
do a good story, but these
Right.
characters ain't going nowhere. You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty much with you all. I think 3 is where it is, and yeah, again, like I don't want it to be a 3, but I think that's what it is, and yeah, it's pretty much the long and the short of it. Um, before we go to our next topic, Mo, you mentioned uh the Weird Hulk book. Are you talking about like the current
yeah,
Incredible Hulk? You
yeah.
started reading some of that?
I've read a little bit here and there. I love the art and I enjoy it. Jay, don't leave yet. Got to see my horror lighting for Renfield theme. Yeah,
Jay, where you going, Jay? Don't be trying to sneak out of here, Jay. Hold on.
yeah. I put
Goddamn.
work into this. I wish you would have seen the movie. When you watch the movie and then watch this segment again, you're gonna appreciate it. But yeah, it's not great, but it's fun, and it's like at this point, what? Yeah, I don't like to read comics for fun, but here we are. That's all I can do now.
Here we
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
This is what they've reduced me to.
Yeah, and I'm I'm here trying to like break down the world around me into palatable little pieces through fiction so that I can cope with reality. But apparently, it's not enough to get you to make good comics. Uh,
Yeah. Okay,
But the
cool.
you
next
you
DC
read
event should be right up your alley.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The next DC event should be right up your alley.
Who knows, man? What?
Uh, Getting Lovecraftian.
Okay, yeah, yeah, we'll see.
Is that Beyond?
No,
Oh,
I think
which
it's
which
called
which?
Nightmare or something.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Nightmare with a K.
This case silent, man.
But it is called Nightmare.
I thought we already did Bat Cthulhu.
No, we did Aquaman Cthulhu. Aquatulu.
No, I mean I thought that's what you call it was. I thought that's what was it?
Doom that came to
Not
Gotham.
the what that came to Gotham?
The dude that came
Doom.
to Gotham.
Oh,
That was an
that's what I was.
Elseworld.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Knights of Dark Knights of Steel or what?
Oh,
Not Dark
I
Knights of Steel.
That's
no.
not
No, I'm sorry.
Cthulhu.
No, not Dark Knights of Steel. I'm sorry. What?
Metal.
Oz, help me. Yeah, the one after Metal.
Death metal.
Death
That's not
Metal. Yeah, was it?
Cthulhu either.
It's not
No.
Xanathros or whatever. Or what's the?
I didn't read those, so
I'm pretty sure that's
I
back
didn't
through.
either.
I'm a fake ass
Mhm.
DC metal fan because I have the DC metal shirt, but not the. I didn't read them.
Oz, do you know what I'm talking about? Or am I the only one that was reading those?
No, I read those. I just don't know what you're talking about. You're not explaining it right.
Batatros? What is his name?
What?
All right.
Batatros?
No, wait for my cool Renfield light.
Let's do
I would,
lighting because
I,
I got it
I,
out.
I would. I'm sorry. I'll come back to that another time. We should go into Renfield then, and yeah, you can switch to a chain, then you can see most lighting and leave.
Hold on.
No, look, we have a wait.
The
We
light.
need the what?
There we go. It's my cool.
Worth the wait. There it is.
That's what
I agree.
they're literally in group therapy and are like Narcissist Anonymous, and this is what the lighting was when they're in Narcissist Anonymous. This looks really cool. Somebody
It
take
does look good.
Damn, I'm gonna,
Nice.
yeah. All right, okay. Watch
All right.
Renfield. You're gonna really appreciate this. I'm gonna do the rest of the show this way.
Okay.
Later, Jay.
Later.
Uh-oh. We lost Mo's friggin' oh, there's his extra light. I was about to say.
The battery fell, but
All right. Renfield. Oz, you saw Renfield, right?
Yeah.
All right. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it, man? What is this movie about?
It's about this guy named Renfield who he's Dracula's servant. And after hundreds of years of service, he's starting to feel like this is a toxic relationship and he's not having fun anymore. And he's trying to figure out a way to stand up to his boss, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, no,
hilarity ensues.
yeah, that's it. That's it. And I think the oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Aquafina is one of those people that I'm really getting sick of.
Wait, what? Why?
It's just she's in everything and is annoying. The other being Seth Rogen. And it's not that he's in everything, it's that he's doing everything.
Yeah.
And ruining things that I used to like. Or just making them stupid. But I didn't mind her too much in this because she's way toned down.
I agree, 100%.
You see a little bit of her annoying side, but for the most part, she's like the serious character now.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not out there trying to be wacky and oh look at me,
Yeah.
No, she's being serious and like her story is actually like kind of intense.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and she's caught up with this Renfield guy who is just nuts.
Yeah.
And all you really
No,
have to say
I
about this
agree.
movie is Nicolas Cage is Dracula, and he goes full Nicolas Cage. Like that's how I picture him. Like if I met him in the street, I picture him acting like that and talking to me like that. Now you put the makeup on him, and it's like, yeah, well, hey, that's Nicolas Cage.
well, especially with those memes that like show him in like the 1800s or 1400s. You know that he's a vampire.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I like that they go with that like Bela Lugosi classic
Yeah,
Mhm.
Dracula type,
Yeah.
the one that used to say,
Fuck you!
"That's the Bela
Wait,
Lugosi." That's Bela Lugosi.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. Well, it's
No.
it's what's his name?
Sounds
Martin
like
Landau. It's Martin Landau playing Bela Lugosi in Ed
oh,
Wood.
got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah. Um yeah, I agree with you. I was like, you know, Nick Cage playing this version of Dracula is pretty special. And it's amazing how well it fits together because it does seem in some ways over the top, but in other ways it feels like right at home. Like I guess it kind of feels that way in the same at the same time, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, Mo, you got your lighting right. How'd you feel about Renfield?
I loved it, man. It definitely like it hit. I don't know how much money it made, but somehow knew they made me know that it was gonna be out more than they did Shazam because they blamed marketing for Shazam, but
Right.
I don't. But the moment all I really saw, I didn't know what it was about. I just remember being at the gym and I was watching Star Trek on the treadmill, and then I just look up at the TV and I just see uh Nicolas Cage like, and I'm like, I'm in. Like, take all my money. This is what I do for my birthday. I want to go see this. Yeah. So, and then I saw and it said Renfield with that font, and I'm like, oh, I fuck font, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how come I didn't hear about this movie before? And then I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, it's a Robert Kirkman creation that went straight to movie. They didn't bother with the
hmm
comic, and I'm like, I'm in. Like, that's it. Like, and then it kind of feels like that, like the way the movie gets executed, like little beats, story beats. Uh, I'm having audio issues. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear it, but um, it's throwing me off. Hold on.
Yeah.
But all the story beats feel like little mini arcs of like maybe a trade paperback or a 8-issue arc comic book, and like I said, Aquafina, like I actually love Aquafina and everything. So I don't know, like
hmm
I don't know what's like. I don't find that annoying, but then again, I'm also like the weird dude with a weird voice that talks a lot and loudly, and
hmm
maybe I empathize with them. But that's like yeah. Here she actually shows some acting skill. And I'm like, man, like she's playing a character that's more subdued, and like he said, she does the Aquafina-isms, but really, like I don't think she needed to do any of them in this movie to play her part right, and she played it right. Like I enjoyed her in it, like I do everything else, but I got to see another side of her acting skill here. The dude Nicholas Holt, like this is the part he's like, I think he's typecast at this point because he plays this guy everywhere. Like there's that movie, like was it Warm Blood or Warm Heart or something? The zombie romantic comedy movie where he's like a
hmm
zombie that falls in love with some chick, and so he's in that. And then I think he did like 2 of those, and he just always
Okay.
plays this pale, like nerdy dude. But here he didn't even have to worry about a love interest or anything. Like he was just there, and that was
Yeah.
refreshing. So even the way he played like Hank McCoy, like he played it like that too. So but yeah, the movie itself, yeah, I just like Kirkman doesn't give a fuck about comics anymore. So he's
Why do you say that?
because he made a good movie. Like that's it. Like he's just gonna streamline it. Like, yeah. He's like, this is
Yeah.
This is why I got into comics, to just leave them and go into movies.
I wish the servant would have been a werewolf, but I
Why?
get that because that was the vampire servants, their guardians, their guard dogs.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. So this, like, if you're going by like Bram Stoker stuff, like this still fits because he's not. It's what happened to Keanu Reeves' character in the long run. Not so he wasn't like the dude that was crazy in the hospital that would eat the bugs a lot. Like he's technically like him, but he's not that guy. But he's closer to that guy than he is all the other guardians and all the other familiars that he had. You know,
I figured they just needed a way to turn off his powers, because that's a little bit of a plot point, is that he has to activate his abilities. And
Yeah.
I think what's his face, Holt, is probably tired of wearing fur on his face at this point.
Yeah, probably. But
What was he in where he wore fur in his face?
he was Beast.
We literally just
Oh,
talked about that.
right.
Like I referenced Hank McCoy, Larry.
He
Like,
doesn't know comics. He doesn't know who that is. It's like, is that the Doctor on Star Trek? Wow.
Yeah.
Listen,
he bones
first of
McCoy.
all, he's barely.
It's Leonard McCoy for that one, Larry. You fake ass.
He's barely in the fur mode in those movies.
Yeah, because he hates it. That was my point.
That's why I said Hank McCoy and not Beast.
Yeah, no, that's why I didn't make the connection. I didn't know that's what
You might as well take off that shirt because you're not a good X-Men fan.
Oh, I'm a fantastic X-Men fan. Anyway, but yeah. So
He is a lot like the current X-Men fandom that has seen the movies.
oh wow, how dare you? How dare you, son?
Like he's
anyway,
X-Men what people are to the Bayformers now.
Oh,
the real Transformer fans are the Bayformer fans.
Listen, don't look. Okay, Oz. I'll remember that next time.
You're gonna watch the new one. You know you are.
Low key, I told Larry, like, because we went to see Renfield together, and when he was driving me home, like, you know what, I think I'm gonna go see it. Like, I don't want to, but I think I'm gonna go.
And what did I say?
And he said that I think Raymond's gonna fucking McCluskey me or something. I forgot the term he said. B.A.
McCluskey. Yeah, that's what I said. B.A. McCluskey. What's McCluskey?
I don't know what.
That's what the alien says before Han shoots him first.
Yeah,
McCluskey.
He says like McClunky for some reason.
Yeah. But he's gonna wake up in the theater right when the movie starts, and he's like, Raymond, and Raymond's just gonna laugh at him.
But yeah, like I don't have any plans on checking it out, honestly. But you know, like I haven't been to a Transformers movie since the second one. The second one was the last one I saw.
For a fact, you saw. I think it was Darker Than Moon.
Yeah,
but not in theaters. We saw that like at my house, didn't we?
You saw it. It counts.
No, we saw that. Yeah, we saw that at the house.
Listen,
I didn't buy that Blu-ray used. All right, like they got that was
whatever makes you feel good about it, man.
I don't even know what that Blu-ray is now. I don't know if I assume I left it at your house as a gift to you, because I knew that then you could never throw it away.
Oh, jeez.
And that apartment's like a hotel now. It got demolished with the Blu-ray at the foundation now.
Wait, what?
That Blu-ray will make that foundation stronger for the future.
Oh, jeez.
When the next civilization finds it, it's like, oh, we found some religious text.
Like they show the primal Transformers landing, and that's supposed to be the future. Like that was the whole thing. Anyway. It made you think it was the past, but then you find out it's the future, and it's fucked up. And now he's showing up and hanging like Primal's probably banging RC. Also, she's in it.
So
apparently Mirage is a big deal because he's all over that trailer.
Oh, you're talking about the Beast Wars, like the Maximals,
Yeah.
like they're landing. Yeah,
Well, I don't know if it's them, but in the trailer they show that the meteor hitting, like how they always showed the Transformers showing up and the
yeah.
Decepticons. And I assume since they're the new Transformers that's what happened.
You know what pisses me off is that it's like they're fighting each other, and there's like no Predacons in it, and like 2 Decepticons, and then the Autobots and Maximals are fighting each other, and it's like that. What the fuck? Like you can't really you really want to shit on this? Like
I don't know why you're surprised.
I'm not surprised, but I'm disappointed because like yeah, I just didn't want it to happen to me, but it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting old.
Okay.
You see all the young people ruining everything you used to love.
Yeah.
I'm sure the time will come when somebody's gonna make a live action movie of like Transformers Prime, and then those folks will get their turn, and they'll be like, "Wait a minute." Or I guess they gotta do Transformers animated before that. I liked that show. That was a good show. Anyway, Renfield. Look, so yeah, I guess we were at Robert Kirkman doesn't care about comics anymore. Which, I mean,
he doesn't care about killing people anymore either, because they fixed that. Like that annoyed me too.
What's that mean? You mean like in the movie?
In the movie,
yeah.
A very impactful scene of a gruesome deaths, and then 10-15 minutes later, we fixed it. They're all fine.
You don't like happy endings?
I appreciate the line about the one guy when the one guy starts talking about like, yeah, we were dead and we went places and we saw things and you could see the trauma. And okay, I like that. It's a funny joke, but you're still like, I don't like when we fixed everything with this magic substance. Maybe just bring back like 1 or 2 really important people and have them, give us that line. You don't need to do that large group.
Okay. I mean, I hear you. Yeah, I do feel like the cast overall though I should say the main cast did a really good job with the roles they were given.
It's a lot more action in this movie than I thought.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
it turns into a Tarantino film for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But it's 100%. Got good choreography too, like the way they do it with the practical effects and special effects, and it works out pretty good.
And that's probably his comic book side too. He's just going crazy with the action like that.
I think the people he got to work for him or work with him kind of like knew his sensibilities, and they're like, yeah, let's just make it this way,
Mm-hmm.
We I don't know who did like the storyboards or anything, but they look very planned out and very like talk about just the colors, like how I have it here. Like they did that at different points in the movie for different things. Mm-hmm. And it was well done. It was artfully done. And that's like a comic thing. Like colors like this don't really work in live action like they did in this movie. Like it's just either real surreal stuff, but not like, oh, this character's sticking out from the rest of everybody. Yeah, because there's like really no light source why he should look this way while he's talking about group therapy shit. Yeah.
I also do like that they stick to the lore a little bit. Like dude, I came home and I was looking around like, do any of my mats say welcome? Because nonsense I don't need.
Right.
And just a lot of little details like that. And it's one of the things that I like to say and not necessarily for like things such as lore, like classic lore, but just movies in general that are based on something. You have an amazing story with amazing details that people love, and if you're gonna make it into a movie, why change all that? The more of those details from the original that you can add to your movie, it's just gonna make it better. You're not gonna come up with something better than this thing that millions of people already love. And Dracula is one of those things. Like you're not gonna make a better Dracula. Twilight tried. They couldn't. It didn't work.
Well, but this has the benefit because it's a Universal, and Universal owns the trademark on Dracula, so they can actually like recreate scenes from like when they're doing the flashback, and they just make it look like the old movie, and it's like, and they play the music like when he like shows up and starts trying to narcissism him again, and like they play, that's like the score from the original movie, you know.
Yeah.
So that adds to the feel, and it's part of it is that they have the rights to it, you know. So it worked for it to its benefit, you know. And I think that's why I don't know. I don't think Twilight was Universal, but they could have. But I mean, the whole point of Twilight was to be different too. You know.
Yeah.
It worked well for them in their right in their what they're trying to do.
It's interesting just because like the idea of vampires has been around for so long, and I mean, I think people it's like in some ways all the monsters, the classic monsters, kind of fall into the bucket where sometimes people try to do something different just because these monsters are classic for a reason, and a lot of things have been done with them. But I do agree with you that the way that they used like the vampire lore, and they just did it real subtle. You know what I'm saying? Like they did, like it's not like they didn't hit you over the head with, oh, a vampire has to be invited in, or they can't enter your dwelling. Like they don't even say that. They just trust the audience to know that that's something that is a vampire thing, and so they make it so like when the vampire is in a place already, they show you like, oh, this is why they were able to get in there, and it's just like, oh, like, it's like at that point that nobody even was like, hey, how did you, like they'll give you no explanation or anything like that. And even like the meeting situation, they don't say anything about, oh, he has to be invited in. But when he does get invited in, you have the reaction of the guy, of the character saying like, oh no, like, because he's like, he doesn't want him in there.
He knows
and
the rules.
Like, it's right, exactly. And so it's like it is really cool, like how they do like trust the audience in that way, because that's something that doesn't happen a lot, especially in movies these days. Like they treat their, like, which, look, we were even just talking about that with the last review with Spider-Man, Oz, where you were saying how they were like, basically telling you the same thing that you already knew. You realized it from what had happened. Like you watched it happen and you knew why it happened, and then they still explained it to you because I guess they're like, hey, maybe some people didn't get it, and that's probably true. It's technically different audiences, right? Like Renfield's a rated R movie, Spider-Man is an all ages comic, so that's a whole different thing. But yeah, it's like, and I did like how they also did like the smoke and the bats and all that kind of stuff, which are all classic, kind of
classic powers,
right? Which like you don't see that often these days, like especially well, either one, but but yeah, there's a lot of lore to pick from, so I understand why people switch it up too. Because like for instance, like like in my mind, I think of like, say, like Underworld. Underworld, those vampires have some classic things, but they also have some very non-traditional, non-classic aspects to them, and it's cool. To me at least, I like it. But you know, it's good to see both exist. So yeah. How did you feel about like the the gore side of it, Oz?
I didn't mind it because it was so over the top.
Yeah.
It's that whole like and that's why I call it a Tarantino. When
Yeah.
guy gets his arm ripped off and it's just like gushing blood, and then he starts beating someone with the guy's arm. So
that did happen. Yeah.
it's over the top that I don't even consider it gore.
That's fair. Mo, were you digging that grindhouse kind of feel to it?
Yeah. That like to me, like as much because to get Nicolas Cage to be Dracula took several forms of discipline in art, whether it's makeup, acting, cinematography, and lighting, and all that. And then throwing that in there is like a juxtaposition of it too, where it's like it's kind of campy, but it's like talking about a guy that is literally like decided to take over the world after feeding on it for 400 years, so like it can be ridiculous, and the tone of the movie itself, it does have humor in it, and it's not like horror comedy per se, but the characters deal with stuff, what's in front of them, humor, so it works. So it acts like how I said, like it starts being gore and violence, and it just becomes part of the fun,
Yeah.
I know you're not a huge fan of gore, so, but I guess I think you had the same reaction where it's just like it becomes part of the fun because it's over the top, right?
Yeah. No, I definitely. I mean, and don't get me wrong. There was scenes here or there where
When they
something
open his
happens,
stomach
and
up, they open his stomach twice, and I know that one because that felt like if you're gonna open somebody's guts and let them spill out, like that's how you would cut it. Don't ask me how I know, but that's how you would cut it.
Yeah, that was a lot more realistic.
Yeah, like even the sound, like the sound was realistic, and the way he's holding each piece in, like not moving it around, like just trying to keep it so that when it's in, it's still in the same orientation. Like it's like that took a little bit of skill to execute that, and he did it twice. Yeah.
No, that was definitely one of the tougher moments because like you said, like that definitely came across like more like it was more real than the arm ripping off a portion, for example. but
the only thing that really bugged me about this movie is it opens with Dracula getting fucked up, and so now Renfield has to find a new hideout for them and bring them food to recover and all that. And it felt like the time point from where he gets messed up to present day felt like maybe it could have been 100 years.
Yeah,
it may be more. And when we see Dracula, he's still really messed up, even though he's got like there's like all this blood, like pints all around him that he's obviously been absorbing.
Yeah.
And it feels like when he gets back up to, looking all pretty or whatever, it's like a week later. And I'm like, okay, it took 100 years to get to this point, but then from there to there, it's like a week, and your boy hasn't even actually been bringing you shit like he's supposed to.
Yeah, you're bringing him faulty blood.
It just felt a little quick.
But that was the thing, though, right? Because he got better quicker once he got the kind of blood he needed, right?
But he wasn't getting the kind of blood he needed from Renfield. Renfield was giving him like garbage. That was the whole point.
Right.
But he's like, I need a nun or a cheerleader or something innocent. You're giving me this this fucking tainted meat.
I even like how he said that, where he's like, "Don't look at me like that. It's not about the gender." Yeah, and beyond that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which kind of fits like his whole thing, like, I've been a monster, but really I'm a god.
Mhm.
because for
Yeah.
him it was the power of innocence. Now it had nothing to do with
Yeah.
who that person was or what
Overt
they.
sexuality.
Yeah, because he wasn't
Mhm.
fucking them; he was just drinking the blood.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, shoot. Anything else y'all want to say before we rate it?
I would tease my rating as a 5 out of 5.
Okay, well, we'll see what it
Okay. Well,
actually is when we get
look,
to you.
the people will be on the edge of their seats to wonder to actually hear your actual rating. Oz, what would you rate Redfield?
I'll probably do a 5. I mean, whatever complaints I may have said during this review are nitpicky, and it's a fun movie. You're gonna
Well, they
fucking
don't
enjoy
Yeah.
it.
they don't knock down the quality of the movie.
No,
Like,
it's
Mhm.
just I've seen a lot of Dracula stuff, so I'm
Mhm.
gonna be nitpicky, but just fucking go enjoy a movie. It's fun,
Yeah.
and it's Nicolas Cage
Moses.
as Dracula, like
Right.
classic. Ooh, Dracula, not Pretty Boy, or
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it opens
So
like
cool.
a Bela Lugosi movie.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
use everything. Yeah. It like I said, the music is like they use some of the original score.
Mhm. Moses, can give the people what they want. They're on the edge of their seats. What would you rate Renfield?
6 out of 5.
Say
No,
no, dang, he switched it on us.
no, definitely it's a 5 out of 5 for sure. And it definitely, like, I find the film itself, I find refreshing in that there's very few, like, everything's based on something, and this one it's maybe derived from something or influenced, but not
Yeah,
necessarily based, and they get imaginative with it. And this is the type of story we would get in comics and be like, oh man, this comic's really
yeah,
good. And we
yeah.
skip that process, and then then the movie comes out and it's not as good because they try to go traditional. And then, but
Right.
this that process and went straight to the movie, and
Hmm.
it gave me that feel like this is what I like when I would not really watch movies as much anymore or TV shows anymore and read comics instead. This is what that felt like. So it's
Hmm.
definitely a 5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah. So I got to give Renfield 5 out of 5 as well. Man, it was just a good time, and yeah, like I can't think of anything honestly really bad to say about it. I definitely will say this. I know this isn't the kind of movie that's for everybody. Like there are people that, for whatever reason, will feel like they're probably above watching a movie like this. And but I would suggest everybody give it a shot because you'll learn quickly, I think, if it's a movie that's for you or not. But the fact of the matter is, it's like if it is for you, it'd be a shame if you missed it because it's a good time. It's a real good time. All right, Renfield in the books. Uh, we should talk about the Mandalorian. Y'all ready?
Let me change
Oh, do we change your what?
my
Oh, your
lighting.
lighting. Okay, okay. I'll see if I can actually play the TV thing. How about that? Let's see. Uh-oh, I'm going too far. Where's the TV? That's not videos. There it is. Oh no, wait, is that it? Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, here we go.
Also,
No, it's more about gel coat.
When the fourth round was
Don't you call it?
so good already. Jumbo Scampi for limited.
All right, there it is. Uh, the Mandalorian season finale happened today, and so I guess we should mention spoilers for those that maybe haven't gotten to see it yet. But if like everybody here saw it though, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah. So folks, if you haven't seen it yet, you may want to tune out just in case we're talking about plot points or whatnot.
Or if you're
That you
bored by
don't.
us, you might want to get tuned out too.
But otherwise, please feel free to join in on the convo. Gents, The Mandalorian. What did you all, or how did you all feel about this season overall in regards to, or in comparison to the seasons previous? Let's start with you, Oz.
I I don't mind that the Mandalorian is now Bo-Katan. I think she's a great character. I love seeing her on screen, and I'm glad she finally got her own show.
That's interesting. So, do you
Yeah,
really feel like it's Bo-Katan's show now?
a little bit. Like Din Djarin is still in it, I guess, technically, but
Like,
it's Bo-Katan's story at this point. It's like the Book of Boba Fett at one point became Din's show. Like he just took it over as soon as he showed up.
Well, but there was like one episode where it was him. Like there was like they literally slid like a Mandalorian episode into the Book of Boba
Every
Fett.
episode of the Book of Boba Fett afterwards, like it's the Mandalorian.
Well, and isn't it also like where Grogu decided not to be a Jedi happened in Book of Boba Fett too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
it
that was 2 episodes that weren't about Boba Fett.
No, but it's all that happens in one episode, right?
I thought it was 2, but
like I'm pretty sure, or I'll say,
well, he has the fight with Paz Vizsla, and nah, man, that was 2 episodes because on the 3rd episode was the finale, and that's when Grogu came and helped him out with the animal friendship.
The animal friendship.
Yeah,
Okay.
with the Rancor, like.
Okay. I mean, listen, I know, like, I just remember the one episode that was like all basically the Mandalorian, and
it's not just that it's Bo-Katan's story because she is a Mandalorian, and
right.
I mean, the show is just called The Mandalorian, so any Mandalorian can take over at any point. It's the side stories that they keep throwing at her. I don't know if it was if it was during the show that I complained about the story with the scientist, which like the episode itself was interesting. I liked the story. I like what was happening. It shouldn't have been on the Mandalorian, and it's making I know this is going to happen every time I look at the new episode, and it's more than a 20-minute episode. Like, oh, they're gonna give me some other crap. There's the episode where
is it still good? Like, or is it actual crap? Like,
it depends. I like the scientist stuff, even though that should have been like its own thing, like its own short. Did not like the Jack Black Lizzo stuff. Like it turned into it turned into like Mandalorian CSI for a minute. I like Jack Black. I'm indifferent about Lizzo.
Yeah.
And
you've never seen her play the flute.
I've seen her play a glass flute actually. And then
no, but like actually rock out like when she's on the show, rocking out on the flute.
Well, she didn't do it in this episode. So
yeah, she did.
Did she play the flute in that episode? I don't remember that.
I beat off to
like you could have cut out that whole. That's like 20 minutes of an episode that did nothing for me for this story. So it's just it's too much of that.
Okay.
I mean, but when you read well, I guess reading is the operative word, but because that's what it is. Like when you would read books and they're trying to get something done and they have to do side quests to get it done. Like that's what would happen in the Dark Horse Star Wars book. Like there's the overall arc, and then there's these little like side quests, and that's what this was. Like they literally were like, "Hey, we'll let you talk to them on our planet, but you got to do this for us first, and
Mm-hmm.
that happens a lot. I mean, that happens in movies and shit too, in Star Wars movies all the time. And it's not something that we haven't really gotten to see in the Mandalorian. But if that, I think a third of the Mandalorian armor book for Boba Fett is that it's this weird where he's stuck in a cave for 3 months.
Yeah, but in the book of Boba Fett, I mean that's
No, I'm talking about the actual book, not the show.
Oh,
like
nobody
when you but that's what I'm saying. Like, it feels like that, and that's a good look for this. It's not a bad look, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know for myself, I almost saw it like, it almost felt a little bit like that episode in particular felt like Star Wars: The Old Republic, like the video game, but in a good way to me. Like like I also was kind of like, okay, yeah, they're trying to do one thing, they're getting put on a side quest.
But it was those are things you're
Uh-huh.
supposed to put in like Tales of the whatever that series is that came out. Like the
No,
animated
but it's not
series that
Tales.
was
Yeah,
it's a
but
side story.
But it's a side story with the main characters. Like it's literally what
Not the scientist.
And their purpose for doing all of it is to get what we get at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the scientists, like the whole thing, like there's a lot of different reasons why you see or why that story informs.
I didn't need half an hour of those characters to know that chick was a spy.
Right, but I don't think it's not just about her being a spy. It's about the fact that the New Republic is failing.
And that Moff Gideon is trying to clone himself.
I think we knew they were failing a long time.
Well,
like we've seen the movies. We know they don't do anything.
Well, I mean, we don't like it kind of fills in a gap though, right? Because we technically don't know how we get to like the First Order from the end of episode 6.
Do we really care?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, I care.
It's
like
about the Mandalorians. It's not,
but that's the time period they live in.
Dave Filoni trying to fill in the garbage that led from one movie to the next.
No, but that's the thing is like you see it as garbage because you don't like the new movies. But realistically, this is also like finishing out the stuff that happened with Mandalore and everything during Clone Wars and Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
absolutely
you're watching the third part of the 3 seasons of the Mandalorian is essentially, well, I can't say the 3 seasons. This season is the part of that trilogy, like of what they've been doing.
If I want a continuation to Rebels, I'll watch the Ahsoka show.
But that's
I agree.
Again, that's another aspect of it. Now, if you
it's all the same thing.
If you had the Ahsoka show and then they crowbar in Mandalorians, you'd be pissed too. And now you got a whole season dedicated to that, and you're gonna get your Ahsoka dedicated to that.
I would be shocked if there's no Mandalorians in Ahsoka.
Look,
I feel like there will be.
It's gonna have to be the amount of time they spent name checking Grand Admiral Thrawn in this last episode. Well, not today's episode, but the
one before, yeah.
He's gonna show up. At least Bo-Katan's gonna show up, or they're gonna do something in Mandalore or Moff Gideon. There's gonna be some crossovers. Is my point.
Yeah,
and that's not a bad thing.
Grogu getting the mecha is kind of cool though.
Right.
Him using the Force.
No, the mecha's better.
To fight alongside like two Mandalorians?
You must not be caught up. Grogu is like in a full-on mecha suit.
No, I saw that. And then he got out of it and used the Force to fight alongside two Mandalorians.
Oh, I didn't see.
Like he did. Oh, dude, yeah. See, well, you should mention that so we don't spoil it for you.
It doesn't matter.
Your review's all wacky.
But yeah, like Grogu in the assassin droid is pretty awesome. It's funny that he just has like a yes and no button. And that's all. Like, I don't know why they felt like that's all he needed, but okay. Yeah, it's interesting because I personally like I think that the sentiments you express, Oz, are definitely in line with a certain group of people that have been watching this season of Mandalorian. Like, I know that, and it might even be, I don't know if it's a
I
don't know if it's a vocal
nerd privilege.
nerd privilege. Oz is part of the nerd privilege, privileged elite.
They have it too good. We got too much good sci-fi. Like nobody's talking, nobody's bitching about Picard because everybody's bitching about the Mandalorian. But it's like, dude, you got two awesome shit going on side by side from two different camps, and then you're bitching about, oh, there's too many Mandalorians in the Mandalorian.
Yeah, I will say that I personally
remember when you had to watch Battlefield Earth just so that they keep making sci-fi movies.
I did watch Battlefield Earth in the theater, and it was sad.
We all did.
Yeah, I remember. Like, I feel like that was one of the how sometimes you pick a movie and it's not as good as you think, but you're like, it's okay. Battlefield Earth was one of those choices I made where I was like, damn. Like, I feel like I had to apologize to the people that went with me. I was like, sorry, y'all. This was a bad choice that I made here. My bad.
Yeah, bad to me. They went to go watch like 5-0 Goes West or some shit and left me watch that myself as a little kid.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely don't think that you're alone in your opinion, Oz, and you might even be like how you feel might even be a majority opinion, just because I've seen a lot of people say that. I don't know, man. I like it, and I like even the detours because I feel like it almost makes the world feel a little bit more lived in. But I get it, and even the balance between Bo-Katan and Din Djarin, like it feels like a good, like the story makes sense to me, especially considering like for him, it's like he's playing the role that he's supposed to play in those moments. So sometimes he's up front, but sometimes he's not. Sometimes he's like in the background because it's like, well, this is like I'm helping her help my people, and so it's interesting. It'll be real interesting to see where they decide to go from here. Because without saying too much, Oz, I feel like in some ways, obviously all this stuff was filmed before people actually got to weigh in and see and express their opinions. But in some ways, with the way that this season ends, it almost feels like it might be trying to speak to the people that may be those kinds of critics that might be like, hey, can we get back to like the core of the show? Like that might be. Well, I don't know if they fixed it, but the way that it ended, it very well could, like, the next season of The Mandalorian could very well be more similar to the original season of The Mandalorian. Even though I will say that there was a lot of side stuff in The Mandalorian, the first season of Mandalorian too. What were y'all gonna say?
Nah, like there's more. There's gonna be more seasons.
I mean, was this supposed to be the final season of the show?
I
Well,
thought it.
I don't.
I know he's leading up to a movie.
Oh,
So
really? Is
yeah, so I don't know how like far in the future this movie is supposed to happen, but like this show is supposed to lead into the Ahsoka show, which I think leads into the movie, and
oh
then
okay. I
Filoni's gonna get his Rebels movie or whatever he's doing.
oh interesting. Okay. Like I don't. I'm just saying. Like from my perspective, I don't know that there's been any kind of official announcement on the next season of The Mandalorian. I just assumed that that was something that was going to happen because, like, why not? But if they're planning a movie and you know might if they have other plans or whatnot, which I didn't know. I didn't even know that they're making a Mandalorian movie.
It's not a
So yeah.
Mandalorian movie. I don't even think it has a name. It's a Star Wars movie, but it's gonna be. These shows are leading up to that. They're setting that up.
Okay.
It's a Filoni verse.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Uh, Mo, how did you feel? I guess how did you feel about this final episode?
Oh, I loved it. Like if this was the end, like I loved it. Like
Mm,
I
Yeah,
thought it was so. I was like, man, I cried.
that's
It
fair.
was tight, Like the shit was
Hmm.
good. I love this whole season itself. I loved, even like the
Yeah.
side shit is just more shit. Like I remember being a dude where all you had was the books that I didn't read, and like wishing I could know more about it. So I would like try to get comics and things like that. And then this show is like, okay, this season it's the Mandalorian, and they're giving me all this other shit that I don't have to read or find out somewhere else. Like
Hmm.
I get to see how this New Republic works. Like watching that transition to me was great. So
Yeah.
I loved it. Like that one episode with Jack Black and everything was like the one like side like that could be, but it's like I read comics. That shit happens in between stories all the time.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
I'm used to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like especially if you
Yeah.
read like Sandman, like that shit happens a lot. A lot of the Vertigo shit, that shit
Mm,
a lot. 100 bullets, it happens, and eventually it comes to
yeah.
play. And when it comes to play, I'm like, oh, all right, that's fine.
Right.
That's why they needed to kill the doctor.
Mhm. Yeah. No, no, I agree, and I feel like I don't know, like it doesn't feel like a lot of stuff is superfluous to me, like where it's just like there for no reason. It feels like all of it is to like show and demonstrate a the world so that you understand the place and the setting that these people are living in and why they're making some of the choices that they make. But yeah. Okay, cool. Man, what else do we need to talk about in regards to Mandalorian? Um I don't know, I feel like I'm forgetting to mention or ask about something, but maybe not.
Yeah,
Yeah, it might just be time to rate it.
yeah, yeah. So 5 out of 5 from me. I'm not even.
Mo, Mo,
I'm not even gonna tease it this time.
Mo, Mo, 5 out of 5 for this season of The Mandalorian. Oz, what would you rate
I'll
Mandalorian?
give it a 4. It's worth watching. I'm not paying anything extra for Disney.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, okay. Um, hmm. Like I'm definitely like I'm in the 4.5, 5 range, and I'm just trying to think if like should I just be giving it just a 5 or
What
like
what was the thing that knocked it down that half point for you?
well I mean y- you know the only thing that I can say is that there was a portion of the execution of the ending that I was a little unhappy with, and like I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen it, but it's just one of those things where like the sequence of events itself was a cool sequence of events in regards to like what happened. It's just more so the actual like execution of the scenes and whatnot. Like like at the climax of the big fight at the end, I was like kind of looking for something a little bit like things. And that's the thing, like I don't think epic is the right word, because I think it is epic in fact in like what actually happened. I think in how it was presented wasn't presented in the most epic fashion, and that was a little disappointing, especially in light of everything else that I had seen, especially like even in just one episode. Like I remember, there's a point in the episode where you have the what are those? They're not still dark troopers, right? But whatever, the troopers that he, the troopers that are the precursor to the First Order troopers or whatever, right? You have them fighting the Mandalorians, and they're all like, everybody's like all jet packed up, and they're coming at each other, and that was like really epic. And you know what it made me like, as I'm watching it, I'm like, wow, look how cool this is. And you know what it made me think about was, it made me like, as I'm watching how awesome it is, it's like it made me think about the wasted opportunity again from Guardians with the Nova Corps. And how it's like the same way how we're doing this thing right here with all these people of these jetpacks, like that could have totally been like a Nova Corps fight in this same way. And I'm just like, man, like they really messed around and dropped the ball on that joint. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like that level of epicness happens in that one point in that episode. Which, I'm just like, oh, like this is cool. Like I like this, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, the way it's executed, like you have people like literally with jetpacks in like, it's almost like a dogfight, but with people, and it's like literally like, you have Bo-Katan literally flying through the air with the Darksaber. And like, there was a point too where she does like, she changes direction and she does like a little pose in midair, and it's like a comic book panel. You know what I mean? Because it's like it hits that one moment, and then she like flies on, and I'm like, oh, so cool. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like that, and those kinds of moments that were juxtaposed with like the way that they decided to do things at the very end with the fight. I was like, oh, like, it seemed like there should have been like some of those kinds of moments, and they just decided not to take them. Like the panel, you know what I'm saying? Like the comic panel, or the shot that's like the shot that feels like, oh, this is the epic movie finale thing, and it didn't quite happen that way. But like I said, it's just an execution thing. It's not like what they ended up doing from a story perspective made sense, and it was cool, and I liked the sequence of events. It was just like how you actually physically represent the event is where I was kind of like, and so maybe that's where I'm coming in with but yeah, I don't even think 4.5 isn't where it's like 4.75. might as well be 5, right? Yeah, might as well be 5. So don't look. I say all that to say, not 4.95.
All that for 0.5 of a point.
Well, there it is. 4.99. No. Anyway, all right, cool. Anything else y'all want to talk about before we get out of here? Anybody see anything cool lately that or read anything else cool? Or
I haven't read nothing cool.
I'm out here. I'm playing more Midnight Suns, and I'm really liking it.
I've been talking shit to people on Snap since they don't give me a dumb fuck emoticon.
You make your own videos and be like, dumb fuck.
I just narrate the game and then talk shit to these people. So you can get that on TikTok if you follow us.
Yeah, man, you should definitely do that.
Or Clapper.
Clapper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the post that's like a tutorial on how to play Snap, and then you click on it, and it's Mo going, you dumb fuck, you need to do this. What the hell? What's wrong with you?
I mean, he counted. He literally put all his eggs in one basket, like. And you're not supposed to do that in this game. Like, they give you 3 baskets, you got to get 2 out of 3. Like, he literally was counting on that one basket to do everything, and that's not gonna happen when you're playing against me, because I fuck you up and I control territory at the same time. Like, that's my strategy. But yeah, you can get that.
Yeah, they made
live.
They just released an update for Snap. So you should definitely go mess with it if you haven't done it already. It's interesting. They changed leader again. So now leader now he plays the strongest the strongest card from the other side. So before he was playing like just the one to the left.
Yeah.
But now I think it's just he'll play whatever the strongest card is from your opponent that your opponent plays on the last turn or whatever.
They really want people to use them, huh?
They're trying. They're trying. I had somebody pull them out on me today, but it didn't help them.
Yeah.
Look, that card wasn't strong enough for them.
I finally got the Kang. So I got a little Kang deck going. It works okay. But my move deck is the one that I've been murdering with.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm almost at I'm at 80, I think. Yeah, right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So. Listen, I'm a crack 40 one of these days.
I stopped using the Thanos deck because everybody started using it and I got mad.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I got mad, but it's like I could beat him with something else,
Yeah.
So that's when I started using my move deck, and that one's working. The Kang deck works, but there's some weird shit going on. Maybe that's why the update happened too, where it's like they played 2 cards on the middle section, and when I played my Kang, I reversed time, and then they didn't play it. They played it at another section after. So it's like I literally
you can do that.
Splintered the timeline. So
yeah, no, that's how it works. Like you can change what you do.
No, what they did.
No, they can change what they do too.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's retarded. Yeah. What's the point of having Kang if they can change what they it helps them too? Like Kang don't work.
Well, it doesn't help. It doesn't help them too, because what it does is it shows you what they were going to do for their final turn,
right?
But they don't know what you're gonna do, because
but they still change. They can still change it, like
right. But you can. Yeah, that could be a thing where
we all have the benefit of time traveling. Like we both get a redo. Only I get to know what they did. They don't get to know what I did. But like that's a good it's a good toss up coin. I'm glad I'm not using that Kang.
Listen, you should just toss Kang in decks you like, and if you want to see what they might be doing, like if you're not, hey, I don't know, because I think that's the whole thing where you're like, hey, I'm not exactly sure what they're gonna do. Like if you know what they're gonna do, you don't need Kang, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't know, you can be like, or like I know, like some people are like, hey, they might have like that Shang-Chi. So instead of playing your card, you can play Kang, and then you're like, okay, yeah, they did use that Shang-Chi. So now you know they have it. It's like that might make you switch up like where you decide to put things and all that kind of stuff, you know?
I guess maybe I'll add it to my Hella deck.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't build a deck around Kang. I would have a deck and put Kang in it, maybe, just to kind of be like, let me, you might even be able to use it in your move deck. It might be a thing where you're like, should I move with Heimdall or should I just, stay in place? And, if you play, you can see what you do. And, they're like, But anyway. All right. Well, look, I guess it's time for us to get out of here. Let's look. I guess we should play some final thoughts. There we go. Is that water? Oscar, give me some final thoughts, buddy.
There's no Superman and Lois this week. I was disappointed.
Oh, I'm sorry, friend.
Now I have to watch Mandalorian.
Now you have to watch what?
The Mandalorian this week.
Oh, yeah. For shame. Moses Magnum, final thoughts.
Yeah, man. Subscribe, like, hit the bell. Larry finally gave me my voice recorder, so some more WonderCon stuff coming. But you're only going to see it if you like, subscribe, hit the bell. Yeah, there's that. And then, I think that's it, really.
Okay, cool. So, folks, thank you all for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. We'll be back next week. And until then, we are the Fantastic Forum. Good night.